The Nathan, Nat and Sean podcast.
Welcome to the studio.
Again.
The Prime Minister of our fair country, Anthony Albanese. Welcome back.
Good to be here. Nice intro music at the end.
It is.
How about that?
It is standing to attention for you,
Yes.
Prime Minister.
Except you're not actually standing.
No.
I should have. I do
I'll stand
apologise.
for
We're
you.
sitting up
there.
straight.
I'll stand for you
Thanks,
because you
mate.
promised that you were going to be coming back after the election win, and you have kept your word.
Yes.
How many times
I
is
have
this now?
10 times.
10
10
times.
times
10
as
times.
Prime Minister.
People are
so-
going to start to talk.
Left his keys here.
Hey,
I love Perth.
I want to start by thanking you from the community for marching in the Pride Parade. I think that was amazing, and the fact that you were the only Prime Minister to have done it just shows the way that you look at the community, and also really surprises me that never happened before. But
That's a surprise. Yeah.
I've got to say that there are worse things to do than walking down Oxford Street and being cheered by
Yes.
200,000
oh, it's
people.
amazing.
I don't know why someone hadn't done it beforehand.
A
Now-
bit of criticism
Yes.
for your grey shirt.
Your outfit. That's,
Don't own a sequin? What's going on?
That was not a gay friendly outfit.
Well, what it's about, of course,
Tell me,
is
tell me,
being
talk to me.
who you are.
I know. Probably
And
could have cut
so-
the bum cheeks out of your
And
pants.
so, no one wanted to see that, my friend. No one.
I reckon there'd be a few
And
days.
so I got asked a lot about, what are you going to wear? And it's like, I'm going to wear my clothes that I normally wear because it's about respecting people
Yes.
for who they are.
Yes,
so,
that's true.
You know what? That would
but-
have been a bit of a conversation, wouldn't it? What are you going to wear? Because, like, for you, anything can, like, shoot back up in your face.
Yes.
You know?
Yep. No,
terrible
so
phrase.
I just did that, and then on Sunday, the Pride walk across
Yes,
the
across the
Sydney
bridge,
Harbour
yeah.
Bridge was just extraordinary. It's the second time I've done it. The first time was for reconciliation.
Yes.
More than 20 years ago.
Yeah.
Wow.
And so there were 50,000 people, and there was such a good feeling. People were so positive, and it says something about how people feel, the discrimination that's still there
Yeah.
for a lot of people, particularly young people, coming to terms with who they
Yeah.
are and dealing with those issues that come. That people were so grateful. All these people come out and saying, thank you for being here. It's like,
Yeah,
fine.
leading
Like,
from the
it's-
front.
It's not a big effort.
No.
No.
But it made a difference, and it made me feel really good.
No,
Yeah.
that's
I bet.
great.
That's
Yeah.
a great decision.
Made a lot of people feel good.
Another thing that probably will make you feel good is when you go to the fourth test tomorrow in India. As we know, you're going there. There's going to be
There's
like
a lot of pressure
100
on because
Yes.
myself and Prime Minister Modi are tossing the coin. So
Yeah.
How do two people toss one coin?
I
How's
have,
that
I
going to
have
work?
no idea how it's going to work, but he's the home Prime Minister,
Yes.
so I think he will be.
And the stadium's named
he will be
after
in
him,
charge.
so-
So the stadium is the Narendra Modi,
Modi
Stadium.
Stadium, it is.
Fits
That's crazy,
130,000
isn't it?
people. It's bigger than the MCG.
Yeah.
And Optus here is pretty good.
Yes.
But think about that.
So it's twice the size of
Twice
Optus.
the size of Optus.
You did say there is a lot of pressure on, because last time there was a big noted person in town. That was Donald Trump, and he spoke at the 2020 test. We've got a bit of him speaking. You don't want to stuff this up. Here we go. It's Donald Trump, the great... Well, I won't say great man,
Great
but here he is.
Hey, man.
This is the country where your people cheer on some of the world's greatest cricket players, from Sachin Tendulkar to Virat Kohli.
Sachin Tendulkar.
Oh, my
You would never get
goodness.
that one wrong.
You're ahead of that.
It's a wonder
surely.
he got out of the country.
I know. Imagine not knowing Sachin Tendulkar.
I
Oh, my
was
God.
reading that they're going to lay it on thick as well, because they get very excited when a world leader comes. So for that, I'm just wondering, you go to so many functions and stuff where there'd be catering and all that sort of stuff. So say if you're in India and they're going to provide you with a lunch and it might be a set menu. Have you ever had your head blown off by how spicy food is or something from a local place?
The great thing about being an Australian is we eat all sorts of food. We eat spicy food. I like hot food.
Yeah,
Okay.
do
Yeah, but
you?
Not
we're
everybody-
traditionally
yeah.
buttered chicken type of people, which is not
Yeah,
really
it's
throwing
pretty
ourselves
mild.
out
But once
there,
you
is it?
get real
they-
cultured spices in you, it can blow
They
your
put
head
some
off.
oomph in there. Well, I spent in 1991. I spent 6 weeks backpacking around India, and that is when you get the real deal.
Yes.
When
Wow.
you're getting street food, and when
So were you
you're
staying in hostels and
I was
everything?
staying in really cheap
Albo.
places. There's a whole lot of old rundown palaces as well
Yes,
that you
yes.
can stay in for like $5
Yeah.
equivalent. And we're catching trains, we're hitching. It was awesome. People are so friendly.
Yeah.
It is such a different culture.
It's an amazing place to
But
visit.
I enjoyed it so much.
Yeah.
I went back a few years ago. I was there, but as part of a parliamentary delegation in 2018, and that is a very different experience. So it'll be a bit different this time. I don't think I'll be wandering around
No.
Connaught Place in the middle of
No.
New Delhi, being
I don't think so.
being harassed to buy stuff. So
Yeah.
I think it'll be a little bit more protected, I suspect.
Yeah.
Hey, Albo, we just talked about food just for a second. Just a quick one. My mate wanted to ask you, you got to ask Prime Minister, how Italian is he? Does he make his own sausages? 'Cause
No.
that's the limit. That's where he judges.
No, I
Why
don't
not? That'd
make
be a
my
really great
sausages.
photo op for you.
It's very traditional, as we know.
Yeah, it is indeed. A few years ago, there was someone had a little business in my electorate called the Sausage Queen, and she said, I'm going to
What a
make
title.
a sausage for the election
Yes.
campaign. There's an Albo
Yes, I
beer, and
remember
she
that,
said, we're
yeah.
going to make a sausage and
Yeah.
call it Albo sausage. And I said, that's probably not a great idea if you think about it for a millisecond. So it was changed to the Albo democracy sausage.
Okay, that's much better. We've got the Prime Minister in the house. It is International Women's Day, of course,
Yes,
Prime Minister.
it is.
Unlike Tony Abbott, you haven't appointed yourself the Minister for Women?
No, I have not done that. And in fact, I lead the first government ever with a majority of women as part of the government. 54 out of 103.
Wow.
Well,
That's
that's amazing.
amazing.
That's
Okay.
great.
Which is pretty awesome.
Yeah.
And it
And
just means you're more representative.
Of
isn't
the
it?
population, yeah.
It's
Yeah.
no accident that you have that at the same time the government. We've got cheaper childcare,
Yeah.
paid parental
Yeah.
leave, we're extending all the recommendations of the Respect at Work report, 10 days paid domestic and family violence leave. We're doing all of these things, some of which are there already. 10 days family violence leave kicked in February. We've got 500 additional community service workers. We've got social housing being 30,000. There's legislation before the Parliament at the moment. The other side aren't supporting it, but hopefully it'll get through, which will have 4,000 of those homes reserved for women and children escaping domestic violence. Really important, and International Women's Day is a very good thing. I'm sorry I'm not there in Parliament, but I know that Penny Wong and Katie Gallagher and Tanya Plibersek and Amanda Rishworth and all the fantastic women. Well, I'm taking Madeleine King with me to India as the Resources Minister.
Yeah.
But it is so good that we have a government that's actually representative of the population.
What
Yeah, that's
amazes
great.
me is for years and years and years, and this is like history, it was a bunch of men making decisions.
They didn't even have toilets for women.
Yeah, it was
in
crazy
Parliament
that
back in
we've
the
come
day.
to here.
And so the first woman, she had to go home to go to the toilet once she was elected.
Wow.
Isn't that extraordinary?
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Well, in
We've come a long way.
1983 was the first time that a woman had been elected to the House of Representatives from New South Wales. So we went 83 years of the biggest state sending only men.
It's amazing, isn't it? We've come a long way, which is great.
We always see this story pop up, and it happens all the time, and I just wonder if you can clarify for us the thinking, because we don't get it. Now, it's got to do with New South Wales Dominic Perrottet wanting our GST and thinking that we don't deserve
And he wants to tear up the agreement, basically.
the GST that we get, let alone the fact that we get less than everybody else. Are we not getting something? Because we're going, wait, what you want is fundamentally unfair, but we don't get it. But yet everyone that's on that side of the country acts like we don't get why it's fair that we.
It's just drumming up support for your state.
State parochialism.
Yeah, that's all it is.
Who knew? But I make this point to the premiers on the East Coast when it's raised, that if it wasn't for WA during the pandemic, our economy would be in a far worse state due to Mark McGowan made the courageous decision, and WA people made sacrifices, couldn't see family during that time if they happened to be from the East Coast, and it kept the economy going. And WA continues to be a powerhouse. And I think I was talking with some business leaders last night. There is no doubt that when you think about what are the things that will drive the economy in the future, lithium, nickel, all the things that WA has, like iron ore has been such a driving force behind the national economy. WA deserves its fair share, and under my government it will continue to get it.
It's been good so far, Albo, I will say that. But at the moment, the whole economy of Australia is... Every article you read is on the brink, right? But let's just talk about the facts that interest rates are going up continually. There's a few more to come, which is hurting everybody. Electricity prices around Australia have been no good. Gas has been an issue over the East Coast for a long time. These are things you talked about, and you said you kept your promise by doing other things that you've already mentioned, which are great. But these things have not been tackled in a way that they're easing the pain on any household around Australia. So how's that going to change?
Well, what we're doing is trying to put pressure on to bring inflation down, and the good news about the Reserve Bank statement yesterday is that they believe that inflation has peaked in the December quarter and will go down, which will mean less pressure on interest rates. But what we've had is a global circumstance where arising out of two things. The pandemic meant there were all these supply chain shortages, which put upward pressure on inflation globally, and then the Russian invasion of Ukraine saw this massive spike. So overseas, our inflation rate is a problem here, but overseas it's been far worse in Western Europe, the United States, everywhere else. We're not immune from that, and part of the upside, if there is one, has been increased revenue from resources because the costs of fuel and coal and gas has gone up so much, so there has been an increase in revenue. But we recognise that people are doing it tough, and that's why we've got cheaper medicines came in on January 1, cheaper childcare on July 1, fee-free TAFE. Last time I was here in West Perth, I was at a TAFE, 18,000 fee-free places making a difference, and that's why we've got our energy price relief plan as well, $1.5 billion giving back to people around the country.
Is it really affecting, though, the people at the moment in a positive way? You don't hear that, mate. You don't hear that. And you know what? Can I just say, what you said about the pandemic and the invasion of Ukraine, I think most people get that and putting the pressures on the
I've got
economy.
a theory, sorry, just to step in. I've got a theory that I don't think any of the prices are ever going to come back down because they've now realised that people can pay this much.
No, I agree with what you're saying too, Nathan. But when you became Prime Minister, you said you will do this, this and that, and
to address the cost of living, you mean?
To address the cost of living. It doesn't seem like that's happened at all, mate.
Well, we've done all the things that we said we would do, like cheaper medicines, cheaper childcare. We've done all that. But we can't control the entire global economy by ourselves. We are trying.
Thank you.
But one of the things that we're doing as well is just being straight with people. Like, we're not immune from what happens in the globe. So when the Russian invasion of Ukraine happened, I was talking to the German Chancellor about the price of gas going up from about $9.70, and some of the prices they were asking were $30, $35. Now, we put a cap on it of $12. In Europe, they were paying over €100 in some areas.
Wow.
So a massive increase. So relatively, we've been protected, but we haven't been immune from it. And WA have benefited from the reservation policy that was brought in by the Carpenter government.
Yes.
It just shows, the government action can make a difference, and the actions of the Carpenter Labor government all those years ago have meant that WA has been relatively better off, less impacted than those.
Yeah, that's to do with gas prices, isn't it?
Yeah, that's right.
It's amazing that Australia on the East Coast don't have that.
Yeah, I know.
We're
We
so
are
rich.
we are very lucky.
Which is a real error.
Yeah,
The other
big
thing
time.
that's worth noting is a lot of people think that you are in control of interest rates. Now, the RBA, they're a completely separate entity. Acting
Very independent.
Philip Lowe is the most powerful man in the country, no offence.
Yeah.
Would you
No.
say that? Like, it
Well,
seems...
he and his board, to be fair, I wouldn't put it all on poor Philip
I know,
Lowe's
I do
pointed
feel a
out.
bit
It's not
sorry
just
for him.
me, there's a board, and they make decisions,
Yeah.
and they do need to control inflation, but it's an independent decision that they make. Interest
Yeah.
rates started to increase under the former government before the election, and
Yeah.
they said before the election that there would be a range of
Yeah.
increases. The words that were used yesterday are better than they have been previously.
Yeah. How come banks can pass on the interest rate increases on mortgages, etc., but they're not adding them on savings?
Well, it's an outrage.
So why
It's just an
can't
outrage.
they be enforced?
Well, what we can do is
What are the
just,
powers there?
Well, we don't have power to do that. What we do have power to do is to put pressure on them, and I'll use this opportunity to again say to the
It
banks...
is outrageous. It's just profiteering.
Absolutely
Yeah, it's
unfair.
horrible.
If you are putting up interest rates on mortgages, the money that you're handing out,
Yeah.
you should also be putting up the interest rates on the money you receive in order to lend out.
Yeah.
And that's just common sense, and the banks for too long have been very slow.
Just make a law. Just make a law.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? The Prime Minister,
Well,
like, use your
But
power.
the only issue with that is, I say it often, look, we get angry about it, but we're also benefiting because we're all invested in superannuation.
Yeah, I
so the
get
money's
that, but
coming back.
it's
But if you
the
can't eat
daily
now-
grind.
Some
It's the
false
daily
seats.
grind.
no, I
right
get it,
now,
but-
it's like, you know, and all these
Yeah.
plans in place, people just aren't.
And people are having to
feeling
dip
it.
into their super to pay their mortgages.
And
at the
like I
moment.
said, I'm a full believer on. I do not think any of the prices that have gone up now will come down.
Except that one did.
Which one?
Medicines.
Oh,
they-
no,
oh, yeah, you're right.
medicines.
It did.
and
It did.
childcare.
That is something.
Yeah, I know,
we
and
could-
every time I reach
we
for my
could
Panadol
control.
Rapid, I thank you.
We know that you've got a plane full of journalists waiting for you to go and
So
join
much
them
fun.
there. You're all headed to India.
Off to
in
India, it's going to be.
mere minutes.
And 25 leading business people
Yeah.
are going. The CEO of Wesfarmers from here, and Fortescue, and the chair of BHP, Rio
Yeah.
Tinto.
I mean, India is a massive
They're
market.
all
so,
on their
yeah.
way.
Are you sitting with, or do you have a little space, a little cubicle you can go in and hide, or are you sitting with them the entire flight?
I
have
have
to
a
have a-
little bit of space.
Okay, so you go sit in the toilet, do you?
Prime Ministerial toilet.
No, I do have a little bit of space, but it will be a great trip. And India is going to be India and Indonesia just
Yeah,
about
they're
north.
rising
And this
giants,
is where
aren't they?
WA is positioned
Yes.
so well. Are going to be the third and fourth largest economies in the world.
Yep.
And they're positioned right on your doorstep.
For
Yeah.
sure. Before we let you go, we just wanted to remind you that you invited us over for dinner.
At the lodge, remember? Do you
Yeah,
remember last
well,
time?
where
No,
have you
well, I
been?
mean, we haven't heard anything, so you
No, we
know.
didn't know. We didn't know if it's one of those. Oh yeah, come over anytime.
You know what
Type
I
of
mean?
scenarios. Can we actually come over
Of
for
course,
dinner?
of course you can.
No, true.
We'll get out.
BYO.
Yeah.
Can shake his hand, Nathan?
Oh, yeah, we're going to be
It's going to be a
wild.
handshake deal, Nathan. Can you shake-
BYO.
It's a handshake deal.
I'll
Done.
bring some schmackos for
Absolutely.
Toto.
Oh, my
Oh,
God.
she does like smackos.
Of course she
Make
does.
sure they're the chicken
Yeah.
ones.
All right.
And is it
okay,
a bring a
noted.
plate situation, or
No.
are you going to cater? Because I can bring Mum's bacon savouries.
No, we'll cater.
Oh.
Okay, oh, hello. We're on here.
We'll cater.
Can we stay
The
tonight?
emu export of
do you
VB,
have
I'm
any,
not
how many
sure.
spare rooms do you have?
No, you can't
damn it,
stay.
okay.
Oh,
That's
So
pushing
we've
the
got to find
friendship.
a
You've got to
combination.
draw the line somewhere.
Yeah, you do. We're getting too close.
he won't know. We'll stay in the yard.
Come over on a Friday.
Yeah.
Yeah, you finish early.
Yeah.
You don't work on Saturday.
No.
Come over on a Friday.
We'll tear one up. Have a big weekend in
I'll tell you,
Canberra.
Who do you follow? Are you Bulldogs or Rabbitohs? Where are you?
Rabbitohs.
Okay, so we'll go and watch the Rabbitohs.
Who do you follow in the AFL?
Oh, Hawthorn.
They're going to
Sorry
finish
about
last
that.
this year.
Yeah.
I mean, you have your time, but they're going to finish last.
We had some
that's-
good years.
Yeah,
though.
that's
Just
right.
won them a
That's great.
And what's your favourite Married at First Sight couple? No, I'm joking.
Yeah, don't go there.
No.
I'm dying to know.
No, I've watched it a couple of times. I've got to say, under sufferance.
Hey, mate, enough said.
Enough said.
They don't sort of like each other a lot.
No.
It's like they're not on there for a real reason. It's so weird.
Weird.
Thank you so much, Prime Minister.
Thank you.
Happy
Great
days
to
in
be
India.
Indeed.
Nathan, Nat, and Sean is a Nova podcast. For more great comedy shows like this, head to novapodcasts.com.au. Nova.